All right, everyone, we have the defortification of the election in Virginia. This is a very, very good thing. I would guess that Trump probably has a good chance of winning in Virginia because of this. Glenn Youngkin coming out and defortifying by executive command the election there. So it's effectively monitored manual paper ballots. And that's it. That's the election in Virginia. They had expanded the so-called ballot access with a lot of electronic bullshit, and now it's going to be manually counted, so that's fairly important. I have a feeling this tilts Virginia in Trump's favor 60-40. It's really, really close in the state of Virginia. We do need new polling now that we know that Biden, of course, is not the candidate. And we've got, of course, Kamala picking Tim Walz, so that shakes the race up a bit. I don't know that it helps her. I think that Tim Walz might actually turn off certain independent voting blocks, but we'll wait and see new polling, and keep in mind, for the next couple of weeks, you can pretty much ignore the polling because everything is chaos and there's a lot of push polling going on. So thank you to Glenn Youngkin. I know that some people on the channel, Virginians usually, have expressed doubts about him. So basically, he's sort of neocon Inc. and stuff like that, but he did accomplish this. He's done something. Give him credit where credit's due. Sometimes you have to ingratiate a politician by applauding them when they do something right. And the hope is that then they get the notion that they should do more things right. With Glenn Youngkin, have there been decisions that we would generally disagree with as, well, most people watching the channel, as populistic or libertarian individuals? Yes, of course. But if a person does something right, you know, if a neocon does rescind an element of gun control, if a neoliberal does something right and they rescind some block on freedom of expression, they should be applauded for that. The hope is we can nudge them in the right direction and they'll do more good things. So Youngkin deserves praise for this. Again, Virginia being defortified mostly at this time. I think that follows, what were the other states? Nevada, I think, partially defortified. I think Arizona did as well, which is hilarious. I think that was by court order, though. That wasn't at the executive level. Wisconsin, in part, again. Georgia has defortified almost completely. So we have a much more fair election looming than the one that we had in 2020. I would point out, by the way, to anyone that's black-pilled, some people are like, well, Harris has taken the lead in the general election. They're going to steal it. She's going to win. She's still running way behind where Hillary Clinton was in 2016, by about 3.5 points, actually, at this point in the race. Don't worry too much. Give her enough rope and she'll fucking lynch herself. She is bad at public speaking. She has to make public appearances. She just went to Detroit the other day and made a major goddamn mistake by talking down to the Gaza protesters. Yeah, okay, I guess she's competing for the Jewish vote. That'll be important in New York that you're going to win by 10 points anyway. Very, very important. You just probably hemorrhaged Michigan and Minnesota at the same goddamn time. What are you people thinking? And then Tim Walz is taking incredible flack at the moment, much like he would have in the Iraq War that he didn't attend. Nothing could go worse for the Harris-Walz campaign at the moment. The last 24 hours have been a disaster for them. And I predicted that this would happen. Everyone gets demoralized about Donald Trump. Oh my God, they're going to rig in Kamala. Just let Kamala be Kamala. That's all you have to do. She's going to make mistakes. She does it every time she speaks. She talks down to somebody. She says something weird. She laughs at something weird that the average person wouldn't find funny. And so, I mean, it humanizes her. The problem is some humans are retarded. And Kamala Harris happens to be one of them. With Virginia now in play, with the defortification a la Youngkin, Donald Trump's map just expanded. I think that he should focus on Virginia fairly heavily. I would say 5 states. Here's the 5. Georgia, you need to focus on a little bit. You have an advantage there, and you probably a disproportionate one, but you can't lose it. If Trump loses Georgia, then he's lost the election. Nevada and Arizona. Arizona's now in play. Go up to Michigan and don't berate the Gaza protesters. Say, you know, I understand you've got a grievance. We can address that when my administration begins. I would like to talk to you. I support Israel unequivocally. This is what Trump needs to say. I support Israel, our greatest ally, and all this other bullshit. But I understand that there are civilian casualties, a lot of human suffering, and we're going to try to address that. But you got to elect me first. There you go. There's your win. Kamala's already blown it. And then I would say Virginia. If you win those states, you've won the election. Don't bother focusing too much on North Carolina. That's leans fairly red. And don't bother trying to pick off Wisconsin, because I have a feeling that Kamala's probably going to take that state. Although she might blow that too. She might go to Milwaukee and say something weird about cheese, and all of a sudden 70,000 people decide to abandon the ticket. You never know with her. Trump can be unpredictable. He can be a loose cannon. God damn, Kamala Harris is an order of magnitude more loose in multiple ways. You probably know what I'm talking about. She fucked her way to the top. You know, there's a little bit of a blowout down there. I shouldn't wonder. Imagine, have you ever thought, by the way, like famous people, like Taylor Swift or something, you know, they had like a sex video with some ex, 20 years ago, and then they're like, they still watch it and beat off to it or something like that, and they're always worried that it'll go public. They probably have to go back and say, look, give me the VHS tape, I'll give you $1 million right now. I wonder if Kamala's ever had that problem. I don't think anyone would watch her sex tape, though. I don't think the average person would be insane enough to be inclined to do so. Just saying. That being said, with Virginia now very much on the table, with the defortification there, and again, with Georgia and some of these other states, the election is really Trump's to lose. I know that the push polling is saying that Kamala Harris is several points ahead in the general election. That doesn't mean anything. That means that she's stirred up more support in California and New York with big populations that were going to vote for her anyway. Well, that's wonderful. You didn't pull single-digit lead in New York or California like Biden probably would have done. But that doesn't translate to more electoral votes now, does it? It means absolutely nothing. It's all about the competitive states, and now Virginia absolutely is one. And so focus on them. I want more polling. I need more New Hampshire polling, actually, by the way. And preferably, can we get at least one decent poll from Maine? Something that would be scientific polling, that would be put in the aggregate? Because I'm still waiting for that. I think the last time that there was a poll of that kind was several months ago with a totally different candidate. Please poll Maine. Just, Anselm or somebody like that. Can you please do that for me? It would make my life much easier. That's about all. Peace out.